exit 8
favorite
E
people to ride
and
with.
then turn left.
What was your favorite?
My favorite person was probably Scott Hall. Yeah, definitely.
Alright, who's your favorite to just hang out on the road?
Sean.
Let's say besides the clique.
Besides them?
The clique, yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, me and Jeff.
In 400 yards,
Yeah, we
turn
used to
left.
drive up and down the roads together a lot. Definitely a lot, yeah.
Left turn ahead, and then turn left.
A little road story from you and Scott Hall, since you said he's the best.
Oh, jeez.
Nothing too drastic, please. Just, something decent, something clean that's funny,
Just trying to think. God, that's a good question, man. No, I was trying to think of something.
Something good.
Nothing really comes to mind, man. Scott and I, when we were on the road together, just the two of us, just to kind of give you a different idea of the relationship, it was just very different than it was when everybody was together.
Yeah.
Go right here to Brewster. I'm sorry, boss. I was looking for that, and I was trying to answer. Okay, now we're good. Perfect. Yeah, Brewster. And that's a real road story right there. The camera. This is what wrestlers go to.
Yeah.
But no, back to Scott. When we were away from the rest of the clique, quite frankly, we just were very much talking about the business, but our personal lives. And this is when I found out a lot about him, as personally. We talk about our families, our struggles, our friends outside of wrestling. So that's mostly when me and Scott traveled alone, what we would talk about. Very different from the group dynamic.
Did he ever tell you, did y'all ever speak about the 2020 story? He said that he shot somebody and killed somebody.
Yeah. He told me that one night in a hotel room, that when he was a bouncer in Florida.
Can you elaborate, like how was the,
he was a kid.
How was his feeling? What did you see of him in that moment, while y'all was talking?
Oh, he was very vulnerable, very, more almost like a child. You know what I'm saying? It still bothers him deeply. It was obviously accidental.
Yeah.
But he feels horrible and very responsible, and that's something he's never recovered from his whole life.
Kevin Nash had mentioned something about something that, affected him as a child, and I always thought about when Kevin Nash made that comment, because Kevin Nash is one that knows him.
Yeah, so that was it.
So I would figure, I thought that could be it.
That was it.
Yeah? Wow.
Yeah.
Good story, man. Jeff Hardy, any story with him?
Oh, a lot of stories, but they're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
We were hitting
fun stories.
Well, we would just, when we were driving, man, we would always be fired up, lit up, and we'd always have our guitars. We brought our acoustic guitars on the road with us, and we'd write music,
Write music,
yeah.
Really?
Play and write our own stuff.
You write?
Yeah.
You write music too?
Yeah, absolutely.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I write music.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I could write a song by the time we got there.
Really? That's hot. That's hot.
But
good.
Something we enjoyed to do, and we did it just to pass time, keep us out of the clubs and shit. Always, because he has a serious girlfriend at the time. Now they're married.
Yeah.
I had a wife, so we didn't go out and party like that at the clubs and shit.
Yeah. Just hung out together.
So we got together, two dudes, just playing guitar, singing, just having fun. Our own way of having fun,
No doubt. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other road stories in particular come to mind? Any
Not really, man. Not really. I think, for what we're doing, we should just probably think about just shooting some natural shit. Just talking about some natural shit, see what flows out of us. about the state of the business?
Yeah, no doubt.
Possibly,
No doubt.
Because we've had formatted
So
questions.
speak
for-
about it. Speak about what you mean. Say what you, say what you feel.
I didn't. Did you watch TNA last night? We were taping, but I was peeking over.
I just watched that. I'm gonna be honest. The only thing that I seen that they still have Zima wrestling, and a couple of weeks ago, I think he almost broke somebody's neck. This kid,
Who's that?
Zima, kid that
Yeah, I heard about it.
Sorensen.
Sorensen,
He broke his Zima and jumped from the top rope,
broke his neck.
landed with his knees on top of his head, and
See, I don't
temporarily paralyzed him. I don't know if he's going to be paralyzed for life. I haven't looked up for it.
I don't know.
But
I heard he's out of the hospital.
to be honest with you, I don't understand how they put this guy to work 1 week after he almost broke this other kid's neck, and
Yeah.
it's obvious that the kid is a kid and he really don't know how to,
Don't know what he's doing.
you know?
Yeah.
Yet they come in after he breaks this guy's neck, almost put him right back on. You know?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? What you think about that?
I think it's pretty bad. I mean,
What's your opinion?
I think it's bad, because obviously I've been in the business for 20 years and I've never hurt anybody. Never put anybody out. I've never cost anybody, any money. Because technically, back in the old days too, if somebody put you out, they hurt you while you were wrestling them, you lost money. Because it wasn't like today, you didn't make the next town, you didn't get the next payday. That's how the boys viewed it. So I never took any money away from anybody, never caused anybody any injuries where they couldn't continue to work the next day. Real proud of that. I have a good, as solid a reputation of being safe in the ring as anybody. So I think it's, it shows that TNA and some of the guys they have doing that stuff that they do, they're just not ready for it. They're really not. They don't have that capacity, that love for the business.
You know what I wanted to ask you that I didn't understand? Last time when we were talking and you were saying how you trying to we're trying to recuperate the fans we lost,
Sure, yeah.
because it got corny, in what sense? I'm getting more every day, more interested in wrestling, but I don't understand, what caused it, what turned corny, what exactly was it, because that kind of got me confused.
I will tell you exactly what it was. It was in 2001 when Vince McMahon bought ECW, or ECW went bankrupt. He bought the rights, and Vince bought WCW. Competition in this business has always been, in essence, the driving force. Vince would always go and try to compete with WCW, so he would step his game up to bring in the best guys, the best product. Ted Turner and WCW would always pump their stuff up to make it better than Vince's. So there was a healthy competitive rivalry. And then ECW was there just like AWA was there as the third promotion. So there was always the big three, the AWA, NWA, and WWF. In the 90s, WCW, WWE, and ECW. So when those other two of the big three, they fell. You got one promotion. And what happened was Vince, it might seem like a dream, like all these great wrestlers come to Vince, and it was good for for a couple years. It was good. You had NWO versus DX, Goldberg versus this one. You had some dream matches from all the groups coming together. The alliance, that pay-per-view where they had WCW guys, ECW guys, WWE guys, they had some real super cards. But when that all dried up, you got no more Monday Night Wars, which caused a lot of viewers. You had Raw doing 5.5 million viewers and Nitro doing 3 point something million. You had a combined, At one point, you had a combined 10 million viewers each week watching the programs. Now you got 3.5. So we lost 7 million viewers every Monday night, are gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think it's because of that. You know, there's no competition. There's nowhere. You know, back then too, you would check out Monday Night Raw. Hey man, is anybody jumping Federation? You know, you didn't know if somebody was jumping to the other Federation. Now there's no Federation. You don't care. You know who's going to show up on Raw. Same guys that are under contract. Back then, you didn't know if you know, Hogan or if Nash and Hall would show up on Raw or on Nitro or vice versa. People were showing up on the other shows. It's exciting. You know, that just doesn't exist right now. You know, can I get somebody? So, you know, that has a lot to do with it, man.
You think there's any way that we can bring back those 7 million people? At least some of the 7 million?
Not like this. Not like this. No way. Not like this. They're gonna need. They were trying to. TNA was trying to compete with Vince on Monday nights. Failed miserably. Failed miserably. I personally just think that you know, the business is gonna have to take a big leap, a big change. I don't know what it's going to take, but it's gonna take something. I'll tell you that much. It's gonna take something. But that's a good question, man.
I mean, like that. Nestor, I know that you've talked to me on other occasions about that. Like, you think he left something out that you saw? You know, I know you were a fan since you were 5. You know, and like, what did you? What made it corny for you as a fan? Like, you know,
what made it corny for me was basically I grew mature. I grew up. I became a man, and I started seeing it for what it was. And I felt as if I was being taken for a fool, and it was just giving you whatever they want. And me as a fan, I want to see something believable. It has to make sense to me. You know?
It wasn't. Yeah, I know.
If it don't make sense to me, it gets corny.
Yeah,
you know.
Storylines got weak. You know. Wrestlers, the generation of wrestlers were moving on too. Guys were getting older.
If you watch old school wrestling, Pat Joe, you'll know that. You see the wrestlers and it's just more realistic. It wasn't the same kind of wrestlers, a built guy with muscles. It was a big giant, a big fat guy. It was a guy from Africa that came from a jungle. It was an animal that had a lot of hair. And, you know,
they weren't like right now. I think what you're saying is it seems like they get them all out of a factory. They all got the same kick pads, tights, that same muscular build. It's like generic wrestlers. They're all the same. Yeah, and that's what the WWE developmental puts out. That's what they want. You know, and that's hurting the business, I think, too.
And it goes back to what you said. For the love of the business, they have to love, respect,
and they don't. And those are guys that are
If you don't, you're not gonna give it your all.
Those are the guys that are picked because they're former athletes, former pro athletes, or famous people, or somebody's Mike Rotundo's kid, or somebody's kid, Ted DiBiase's kid, whatever. You got to be handpicked to be in the developmental system. Whereas back then, they would just take you from, this territory or that territory, not just from the developmental. Now they do everything in-house, where it's almost impossible to get a job.
Talk about the territory. There was a whole bunch of, back in the days, they had a whole bunch of other places you can work, Joe. And before you got to the big time in the WWE, you learned your craft. You worked a lot. There was a lot of work everywhere.
Oh yeah, you were working every night if you wanted to.
You constantly worked. So by the time you got to the WWE,
you were ready.
You was ready. You wasn't no young guy who don't know nothing. You understand? Because you got taught well. You understand?
Nowadays, there's just
like when you were talking about on the ride over here to the Bronx yesterday, and you were saying about you know, the schedule that Vince would, you know, like, how intense was it? You think it changed? You said you were with what? Like,
I've done 25, 30 straight days without going home, without having a break in between, bro. You know,
that hasn't changed at all.
That has changed. No, that has changed. Yeah. Oh, sure. Sure. They wrestle. They go on the road Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and then they do their Raw on Monday, and then they go home. They go 3 days on, 4 days on, 3 days off. 4 days on, 3 days off.
Shows? I know
that's what I mean. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are house shows. Mondays are off. And for SmackDown, they start off on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They do Raw and Tuesday, or they do Raw. They have off because now they do the Super Show, and then they do Tuesdays. So most of them, the minimum they wrestle is like 2 or 3. The most they wrestle is 4 a week. It's good. It keeps you, a little more healthy.
You know, like, how do you train to do the flips and all that? You know, like the slams. I mean, is that you have a specific trainer?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
you guys just work together, show each other.
We show each other. We do show each other. Sure. The more intricate moves, the more advanced moves, we do show each other. Absolutely. That's a good question. But the basics, they teach you the basics all in camp, in the wrestling camps. But the more intricate moves, you get your partner, your buddy, whatever, and you go in the ring and you mess around, try different stuff.
I know how to flip, June, and flip becomes, you get that as a kid. When you're young, you're just flexible like that.
Yeah.
Because I could flip. I could do backflips and summies with no hands.
Yeah, but you know, when I see like, for example, Rey Mysterio grab somebody's head with his legs and toss them to the other side of the ring, you know, like, I'm like, wow, you know, like,
that's all.
How do these guys not get hurt, you know?
That's
Who
easy.
teaches these guys?
That's the easy part. Ray has the hard part. All I got to do is catch his feet and take a front roll.
Yeah, we going the right way.
Oh yeah. The next one you're looking for is I-84 West.
That's cool.
Follow that.
Alright, we're gonna cut this camera off. Come back with another segment later.
Okay.
OKFavorite.com.
It's got all. Yeah. Definitely.
Alright, who's your favorite? On the road.
Sean.
Let's say besides the click.
Besides them?
Click,
Oh, that's a good question. Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, me and Jeff.
In 400 yards, turn left.
We just drive up and down the roads together a lot. Definitely a lot,
Left turn ahead, and then turn left.
A little story from you and Scott Hall, since you said he's the best.
Oh, jeez.
Nothing too drastic, please. Just, something decent, something clean that's funny,
Just trying to think. God, that's a good question, man. No, I'm just trying to think of something.
Something good.
Nothing really comes to mind, man. Scott and I, when we were on the road together, just the two of us, very much talking about the business, but our personal lives. And this is when I found out a lot about him, as personally. We talk about our families, our struggles, our friends, outside of wrestling. So that's mostly when me and Scott traveled alone, what we would talk about. Very different from the group dynamic.
Did he ever tell you, did y'all ever speak about the 2020 story? He said that he shot somebody, killed somebody.
Yeah. He told me that one night in a hotel room, that when he was a bouncer, just to kind of give you a different idea of the relationship. It was just very different than it was when everybody was together. Go right here to Brewster. I'm sorry, boss. I was looking for that, and I was trying to answer. Okay, now we're good. Perfect. Yeah, Brewster. And that's a real road story right there. The camera. This is what wrestlers go to.
Yeah.
But no, back to Scott. We, when we were away from the rest of the clique, quite frankly, we just were very.
Alright, we back on No Kayfabe with Just Incredible Part 5. We don't call this segment Road Stories, we on the road. I'm Just Incredible, headed to an event in Northeast Wrestling, Poughkeepsie, New York. We just hung out on the road. We're about 20 minutes on the road. Justin, let me ask you a question. Who was one of your favorite people to ride with?
Take exit 8
favorite
E
people to ride
and
with.
then turn left.
Well, what's your favorite?
Were
One favorite?
my favorite person, probably Scott.